So the Samsung Galaxy S23 has been out for a little bit over a month now, and I want to kind of summarize how this phone has been holding up for myself for the last month or two. It's actually been a little bit over a month, but essentially nothing crazy has been going on. I've kind of talked about everything that I liked and disliked about this phone in my 1 week review. But one thing I would definitely tell you about the Galaxy S23 is that this is a pretty good overall phone. Like I mentioned, there were some weird things that went on early on with this device, like the storage issue of the system taking up like a bunch of storage, the battery life not being that great. But after owning this phone for a month, several different things have happened since that review. For one, I've compared this phone against a bunch of other phones, including, a lot more devices, including its older ones. And I do think that the design is definitely growing on me with the back. That was probably the biggest thing that I kind of didn't like about it. I liked having a camera bump, and I still like that like on the Galaxy S22, but this design has actually grown on me quite a bit. And I do think this approach could probably, make this phone look way more modern than maybe that camera bump style. It definitely looks different. And that's definitely the main thing I would say that's been going on from the outside that's kind of grown on me. I'm used to Samsung phones and I'm used to these amazing displays. And even with some new technology that's going to be coming out this year, probably on the latest iPhones, I do think that the Galaxy S23 display is probably still going to outcompete basically any other phone that comes out this year, more so the Galaxy S23 Ultra. But the Galaxy S23's panel is still very good, and every time I compare it to any other phone, it still holds up very well. So I love this phone a lot just from that standpoint alone. Now, another thing with the Galaxy S23 that I saw was actually specifically with the battery life. So with every single newer update that we're getting, we're basically seeing a way better battery life every single update. Now, when I first got this phone, I was not getting that good of battery life at all, and it was very, very shocking to me. But after doing the initial update, and then I think we got one more update in March, I actually saw that this specific update and, the battery life has gotten so much better. And this is why I mentioned in my first tutorial on how to use this phone and some other, tricks and tips videos, why it's so important to update your phones as often as you can. Because although maybe going up to like Android 14 or Android 15 in the future could potentially affect battery life in like not in a positive way, it's still very nice when you're on the same version of Android, especially when a new phone comes out, because they probably fixed and patched a lot of issues that we had in the back end, and that's exactly basically what happened. So that is another big thing to keep in mind here with something like the Samsung Galaxy S23. You are pretty much getting a very, you're getting a better battery life at least 1 month in than I was getting when I initially bought this phone, as long as you updated your device. Now beyond that, nothing else really stood out to me. I mean, like I said, the speed of this phone is still very, very good. I've been keeping a close eye on the Galaxy S23, not only in terms of my personal life, but also any news and like issues that people are having. And it doesn't seem to me that there's crazy big issues on this phone beyond the standard stuff that comes out. People, like the battery life issues and things like that. But after a while, it looks like for the most part, people are enjoying their Galaxy S23, and I've been enjoying my S23 as well. Now, coming from my Galaxy S22, I was using my Galaxy S22 quite a bit the last like 3 or 4 months. I was doing a lot of gaming. I know it doesn't sound like it's a good gaming device, but the Galaxy S22 with that chipset did a really good job for me as long as you're charging up all the time. And with the Galaxy S23, it's definitely an improvement. Some of the applications that I was using to do some of the gaming weren't necessarily as optimized with this chipset, but since those specific ones have gotten updates, my phones have gotten updates too. So it's kind of been a little bit better in that specific standpoint. I might still say the S22 is just better in terms of getting the better speeds, but the S23 is way more optimized, so you're not going to see like as much thermal throttling, and you're not going to see as much battery, going down compared to the other devices. So to kind of sum up my 1 month of this specific device, I think the Galaxy S23 is still a very, very good phone. It's funny because we've already kind of seen this phone go down in price tag a little bit in the used market. It's not anything crazy, but it is very shocking when you kind of consider how, old this phone is. I mean, it's not that old at all, and we're already starting to see this price tag kind of dip down a little bit. Now, I'm not keeping a close eye on the price tag on this phone necessarily. I'm just kind of seeing like what's going on, like why are these phones going down so much? It's usually because of the trade-in values and whatnot, but it's within like the next 2 or 3 months, this phone's probably going to be half the price. So I like the S23 a lot. Is it going to be the best phone of this year? I guess we're going to have to see what Google offers with their Pixel 8s, the Pixel 7a, the OnePlus 11 was alright, I didn't really like it too much. But then the iPhones later this year. I mean, we still have a lot of phones to go so far. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.